Hi, I'm Derek Gisriel, and I've been investing in Airbnbs and running a property management company that's helped dozens of owners maximize their income, even doubling their revenue. But today, we are actually talking about a game changer for anyone thinking about buying or running out-of-state Airbnbs. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why inexperience will cost you thousands of dollars and how to avoid it. Plus, stick around to the end for a bonus tip on the one tool that I use to cut response times in half while delivering a 5-star guest experience. Trust me, you will not want to miss it. Now, I know what you're thinking. I can save money by managing everything myself, or I'll just find the cheapest property manager and hire them. Well, let me be real with you. Those ideas, they may sound great in theory, but they can cost you big time in practice. And today, I'm going to share a real life example later in the video of a rental owner who I met who made that exact mistake. And it cost him over $100,000 in lost revenue. So if you want to keep your dollars and not just pick up pennies, stay tuned. Also, don't forget to drop your comments below and hit that subscribe button for more Airbnb tips, and check out my other videos on Airbnb improvement after this one. Let's dive right in. So, systems and processes. Managing an out-of-state Airbnb starts with bulletproof systems and processes. Let's start with cleaning and maintenance. So, you're not just hiring a cleaner, you're building a team that can respond fast to last-minute requests and keep your property guest-ready 24/7. So, you know that a missed cleaning or delayed repair can not only turn, in a guest experience into a negative review, and in that business, reviews are everything, but the other thing is you'll miss out on future revenue. So how do you make this work? First, you've got to vet your cleaning team thoroughly. Look for cleaners who are not just reliable, but also proactive. People who will alert you to potential issues like a broken lamp or a damaged piece of furniture. Next, you want to create a comprehensive checklist for turnovers. This is going to ensure consistency, and it prevents details from slipping through the cracks. For instance, does the coffee maker have fresh coffee pods? Are extra toiletry stocked? These little touches make a big difference. Your checklist should also require photos. So for example, most of our properties has 60 to 80 item checklists, and they require 30 to 60 photos of various items within the house so we can monitor condition and inventory levels. Next, let's talk about maintenance. Preventative maintenance is actually your best friend. You want to schedule routine inspections, in particular of your HVAC systems, plumbing, and appliances. You'd rather pay a small fee up front than face emergency repairs, and that's going to disrupt a guest stay, and then you're going to be forced to refund them anyways. So we use a tool that's an AI scheduler. It's called Motion. There's also Asana out there that we've used previously, and we create reoccurring tasks and reminders for these inspections. This way, nothing falls through the cracks. And for those of you managing remotely, what you want to do is consider setting up cameras on the exterior of the property. Keep in mind, these do have to be disclosed on your listing, and what this will allow you to do is monitor activity and ensure that your vendors are doing their job. For example, we put a camera looking at the pool equipment. Why is that on the houses that have pools? Because we want to verify that our vendors are actually servicing the pools. Just remember, transparency with guests about these cameras is key to avoiding any privacy concerns. All right, let's talk about guest experience. Here is the hard truth. You can have the most beautiful property, but if your guests don't feel like they're taken care of or your property's taken care of, they will not come back. And they definitely won't leave a glowing review. So your response time is critical here, especially in markets that are hyper competitive. One of the best ways to elevate the guest experience is to anticipate anticipate their needs before they even ask. For example, if your property is near a beach, you can provide beach chairs, umbrellas, and a cooler. If it's a winter retreat, what could you do? You could stock up on cozy blankets and hot cocoa. Personalization goes a long way. Let's talk about communication. So guests often have questions, before check-in, local attractions, or where can I find the nearest grocery store? Digital guidebooks solve this problem beautifully. So platforms like Hostfully, or we now use one called TouchStay, is going to make it easy to create professional guidebook that can be accessed on any device. You can include things like Wi-Fi instructions to your favorite local restaurants. This is not only going to save you time, but make your guests feel cared for. Now let's talk about or tackle response time. The reality is guests expect answers fast. Studies show that responding within the first 5 minutes of an inquiry will drastically improve your booking conversion rates. You can use a platform like HostAway to centralize all of your guest communication so you're not bouncing between VRBO and Airbnb and different apps. The better yet, what you can do is set up automated responses for common questions. For example, if a guest asks about check-in time, they can get an instant reply with the information that they need and possibly a link to upsell them for early check-in. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of a welcome gift. Things like a bottle of wine, a handwritten note, or even a small basket of snacks can turn a good stay into a great one. Guests will remember these touches and mention them in your reviews, which will help boost your visibility. I want to talk about a story that Lauren and I recently ran into. It was going to be for our LevelUp retreat that we take yearly to plan for the next year. It was a beautiful lakefront property that Lauren and myself were going to rent to plan for next year. And this host did not have instant book on. And we inquired. She took too long to respond. We booked another place. She lost out on over $2,000 worth of revenue just because simply she didn't respond fast enough. Huge thing. All right, managing an Airbnb, when we talk about time commitment and response time, especially out of state, it's not a sit it and forget it business. You are constantly juggling bookings, guest inquiries, cleaning schedules, maintenance issues. If you're not prepared to treat it like a full-time job, it's going to very quickly overwhelm you. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to be on call 24/7. With the right tools and team, you can significantly reduce your workload. For example, you could use a tool like Turno to automate cleaning scheduling so you're not micromanaging turnovers. Now, you pair this with a property management system like Guesty or HostAway, which integrates with platforms like Airbnb and VRBO to streamline everything from messaging to pricing to your locks. And, let's not forget response time. So in today's hyper-competitive marketplace, in most markets, guests really, their expectation is reply within minutes, not hours. Slow response time will lead to lost bookings and unhappy guests. The example I just told you, how that host lost out on a $2,000 booking simply because, we even saw she read the message and took an hour to approve the reservation. By then, we had already canceled the inquiry and booked with somewhere else. $2,000 gone in the matter of minutes. This is where automation can come in. So you can use AI-driven messaging tools that handle the initial inquiries while you're focusing on more complex guest interactions. For instance, if a guest asks about parking, an AI automation response couldn't provide details instantly, which keeps them satisfied while also freeing up your time. Here's a pro tip. If you're worried about being overwhelmed, you may consider hiring also a virtual assistant to handle guest communication. It can be a cost-effective way to ensure quick responses and have that human touch. My only caveat to that is to make sure that you have a great training in place and maybe an answer key of the top 100 questions that you get on your property. Now, let's get into that example I promised earlier. So, a rental owner that I recently worked with chose to go with a property manager who charged 6% less than the industry standard. Sounds like a win on the surface, right? Wrong. This manager neglected key aspects like dynamic pricing and guest communication. Over 3 years, this owner's revenue plummeted from 75,000 to 50,000 per year. And worse yet, their listing dropped to a 4.62 star rating, which absolutely killed their visibility on Airbnb. So what went wrong and how can we learn? First, the property manager didn't utilize dynamic pricing. Tools like Price Labs are beyond pricing. What this led to is nights being either over or underpriced, resulted in missed revenue opportunities. Number two, guest communication was slow or inconsistent when a guest had an issue. This led to negative reviews. And finally, the lack of proactive maintenance meant a small issues really turned into big ones. For example, they would lock the HVAC thermostat. It could not go below 72. This is Florida. It gets hot, right? So everyone complained about that. There was also issues with the dryer in the unit. There was an example where a guest said that the host or the property manager told them to take their wet clothes to another one of their houses. They didn't do that. They put all their wet clothes into their suitcase. They took wet clothes that started to smell like mildew at that point to the airport. They were then overweight at the airport. These are things that could have been fixed quickly and efficiently. Do you think that guest will ever come back? No. And they probably also, due to their review, turned away 50 more bookings because of the experience that property manager delivered to them. So another thing is a broken dishwasher went unrepaired for weeks. This frustrates guests and it costs the owner tons of bookings. If they would have hired a more experienced property manager that has 99% five-star reviews, they could have avoided over $100,000 in lost revenue. And their lesson here to me is clear. You don't let a slightly lower management fee blind you from the bigger picture. Dropping dollars to pick up pennies is a losing strategy every single time. All right, here's the bonus tip that I promised you. If you're managing out of state, invest in a tool like NoiseAware or Minute. What these devices do is it monitors noise levels in real time and will send alerts to the guest and also to you if things get too loud. You could put them inside or outside. Now, not only does this help protect your property, but it also helps you maintain good relationships with the neighbors and avoid guest disputes. It is a small investment that really pays off big time. So, what do you think? Are you ready to take the plunge into out-of-state Airbnbs, or maybe you already did? Or do you see the value in hiring a top property manager that has intimate knowledge of how to create a five-star guest experience and intimate knowledge of that marketplace? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more Airbnb strategies, and check out my other videos in leveling up your rentals. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.